so much going on behind the scene, and of course, also very vivid and clear to a lot of people who care to see, is about the agitation for total break. It's happening just everywhere. Even in Ghana, as small as Ghana is, there is a particular region called Westland Togo. They want to break, and they're already flying their flag and doing a lot. Now, let us go to the Biafra agitation also. This is not the first time that, people want to break out of, a nation as a result of being, marginalized, misrepresented, and people feel that the corruption is just too high and they need a nation for themselves. Now, it's a very complex one, as you are going to break with the same group of corrupt people. You're not going to kick them out. And do not forget that they've been in that game for a long time. They understand the manipulation aspect and all of their strategies. They know how they go about these things. If you break away and you are not strong enough, you only get back and return back into the same cancer. You will get back into that murky, that very dirty pit that you thought you were running away from. Now, that being said, Biafra, IPOB, headed by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is the group presently that is speaking, and they are actually pushing. They've not been corrupted like some previous groups who have asked for a total break or whatever it is, and over time they started becoming political, activists, like from there they became people who are in support of. So they were trying to look at things around anyway. Let's leave those ones apart. Let's just look at IPOB. What does IPOB stand for? IPOB has, seen a lot of persecution, and that resulted to the leader of the group, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, escaping out of Nigeria as the military came to his hometown. His parents died, and he said this is as a result of the shock they took as a result of the, the invading of his father's palace by the military. Now, the ODUDUWA Republic, as some might want to call it, some claim that they are not ODUDUWAs. I am not here to present to you who is ODUDUWA or not. It's a choice. The people in Lagos say they are not ODUDUWA. The people in Ijebu land say they are not ODUDUWAs. They say they came from Wadai, and that they are not Oduduwas. That's the reality. One man did not come to form what we know today as the Yoruba race. No, it's not possible. One man did not do that. There are people also that are indigenous that are there already. But as you know, during war or whatever it is, the strongest is always a person that you keep hearing about. But with the names or no name, is that really a problem? I don't think it's much of a problem. Anyone that wants to break apart into smaller sections, they can. And if they agree to come together to unify their economy, unify their strength and weakness together, it's also a big plus. Now, let us look at certain people who have different opinions regarding Oduduwa Republic. That is the major. I've talked about the Southeast. There are some people, politicians, OHANESE Ndigbo, a socio-cultural group, political, whatever it is. They also looking at the, restructuring and producing president for 2023. Igbo president for 2023. So we do have them too in the southeast of Nigeria too. Now let us look at the southwest of Nigeria. What are the people saying? And when I say people, I'm not talking of the general population. I'm talking about certain key players, people whose voice are loud, probably for politics or whatever it is. Now let us look at one former secretary of Afenifere in Kwara State, Chief Wole Oke. He said that the nation, he said the Yoruba deserve an independent country. He spoke about this in Ilorin. Now, let us look at more other people. Publicity Secretary of Afenifere, Yinka Dumakin, said self-determination mood is growing stronger daily. What can stop it is to restructure Nigeria into a proper federation immediately. And what proper federation is the allowance of regions to self-govern themselves and manage their resources. Stop something like that while they have a weaker center, not the all-powerful center, the kind of presidency that we have in Nigeria, and also the type that is in Mexico. These are the two nations that have this all-powerful presidency that if care is not taken, they can even overrule the Senate, which is not supposed to be. Not because the Senate themselves are people of integrity. Now, that being said, now let's move on. We have elder statesman Senator Femi Okoromu, who said the agitation by Akintoye-led Yoruba World Congress, YWC, for Autonomous Federation is not the consensus of the Yoruba as a whole. Professor Akintoye is a man, professor old. He is not a young person. He is saying no more of restructuring. We want autonomous country. We want to be by ourselves. He went on to say there are many agitations by different groups who feel frustrated that Nigeria is not listening to their cry for restructuring. All the agitations are expressions of frustrations that Nigeria is not willing to restructure. What they really want is restructuring. Autonomy for each of the regions is part of the restructuring. It is not only Yoruba that are agitating for autonomy. Everybody who wants restructuring is agitating for the autonomy of the various components of Nigeria. Now, let us look at this. Towing the same line, a former Minister of Transportation, Chief Ebenezer Ababatokpe, said the call for the breakup of Nigeria is against the ideals of the late Yoruba leader, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He said, those of us, including Professor Banji Akintoye, know that if Baba Awolowo was alive, he would never call for the breakup of Nigeria. All we want is proper definition of the federalism we operate. Those that are calling for restructuring are right. Calling for URS Republic is premature. We haven't gotten to that stage. When we get to that stage, all of us in Nigeria will agree. So I'll ask you, listening to me, do you think we have gotten to that stage? What stage do we need to get into before you realize that we should have an autonomous country? Everyone should go and answer his or her father's name. Because some people are saying that we have not gotten to the stage. I think until the blood are shed on the street, and that's when they will know we've gotten to that stage. Let's move on. There is someone else too, a former envoy to Philippine, Ambassador Yemi Farumbi, described the call for UDUDUWA Republic as invitation to chaos. He said, first, people must agree to have a UDUDUWA Republic. That means they must have had a referendum or something similar. I'm not aware that this has been done. I'm not aware if anyone was given the mandate to demand such. I am aware of people clamoring for restructuring of Nigeria, but not the disintegration of Nigeria for the emergence of UDUDUWA Republic. I am not aware that anybody has been authorized to demand an action that could lead to the massacre of our youth. What massacre of the youth? Who is massacring who? I do not understand these people at all. Who is going to massacre who? What is going to massacre who? Are we slaves? Are we forcefully married to the north? What is it, the southwest that is going to massacre the youth? Or is it the north that will massacre the youth as the first husband? These people are cowards. They are cowards speaking this way. Or they are talking about themselves, saying that they are going to massacre the youth for asking for a break. We need to look at these things, you know. Someone else said, is the former governorship aspirant in Ondo State, Chief Olushola Ebiseni. He said the agitation for self-determinations are indications of leadership failure. We know that. Clamoring for a sovereign Yoruba nation in the southwest, just like the Biafra agitation in the southeast, is what you get when the leadership of a nation remains impervious to the clamors for social change. So that being said, now let's look at more people. Let's look at more, opinions and what people are saying. Now, former Southwest Publicity Secretary of PDP, Ayo Fadaka, he said these agitations are premised on the flawed federalism practice in Nigeria. On Yoruba agitation, there are still some issues that must be determined by the Yoruba people. That I agree, but a change cannot come without a break. That's it. Now, let's move on to some people. Agbekoya Farmers Society of Nigeria is a guild of farmers in the southwest, pledged to support Yoruba interests constitutionally. This was disclosed in a statement by Chief Kamuruddin Okikiola and Chief Olatunji Bandele, President General and National Publicity Secretary, respectively. They said there can be no UDUDUWA without Agbekoya, and there can be no Agbekoya without UDUDUWA. Therefore, Agbekoya's position is that as much as we are supporting the interests of UDUDUWA, we are advocating for a legal and constitutional approach that will not involve violence and disturbance of public peace. We are against any group that intends to cause public unrest and disorder, all in the name of agitation for a republic. The President General also called on different Yorubas in Yoruba land, different groups in Yoruba land, notable Yoruba leaders, traditional rulers, politicians, eminent Yoruba sons and daughters to rise on this issue to secure our fatherland. They said, we believe that Yoruba people are sophisticated, educated, and well exposed enough to fashion our ways of resolving issues affecting Yoruba land. Given this perspective, President General of the Federation of the Yoruba Consciousness and Culture, FYCC, Bashorun Adeshokon said the call for self-determination is in order. So, let us look at some other territories. Now, speaking on the inclusion of Delta State in the map of the proposed UDUDUWA Republic, a former editorial board chairman of Guardian newspaper, Professor Godini Dara, said Yoruba land does not extend to the state. He said the inclusion in the map of UDUDUWA Republic of Yoruba territories in Warri South, Uwe, Udu, Okpe, Sapele, and Ethiopia West Council is a declaration of war of aggression against Yoruba people. Yoruba or Oduduwa land does not extend to any part of Delta. So if you are from Delta State, there are some parts that have cultures similar to that of the Yoruba people. Do you think that some part of Delta State should be part of the new Oduduwa? And do you agree to the name Oduduwa, or do you think they should look into the name of Oduduwa and come up with something that can unify everyone rather than talking about Oduduwa and saying everyone came from Oduduwa? I do not think everyone came from Oduduwa.